Hello, Slicey Dicers. This is Brian with another knife video for you. Today we have the Fox Knives Suru carbon fiber. Yeah, I got one, kinda. This isn't mine. I want to thank I don't know if he wants to know his name, so I won't say it, but I'm very happy. A viewer loaned this to me, so thank you very much for that. I do appreciate it. They are not available in the United States yet. They are available on a few different overseas sites. I know Lamnia, I saw them on there. I don't know if they still are at the time you're watching this, but about $200 from overseas. So I don't know what they're going to cost when they hit, Blade HQ and the big sites. They have not released those numbers yet. But for $200, M390, pretty much the first carbon fiber frame lock. Yeah, this is all carbon fiber. Even the lock side is carbon fiber. We'll talk a lot more about that because I do kind of have an opinion, and it's one time that finally I have some knowledge to talk about it because I'm heavily involved in the bike industry, and carbon fiber is actually something I probably know more about than I do steel, so we'll talk a lot more about that. Very, very cool design. You guys will remember I reviewed, this is a Jesper Voxnay's design, probably one of my favorite designers, if not just purely my favorite knife designer in the world. I reviewed the aluminum version of this. The aluminum frame lock, I liked a lot of things about it. Was kind of iffy about the price. That was $160. If this is $200 when it hits U.S. shores, that's a fantastic price. There are a couple things about it that I was not one major thing about it I was not expecting that I'm not super excited about. But other than that, it's a very, very cool knife. And for the amount you're spending, if that's what it costs, that'll be pretty awesome. I know Lamnia.com has lamnia.com has it right now for about $200. So we shall see. This is the carbon fiber with the blue hardware. They also have a carbon fiber with a bronze that has a gray pocket clip instead of this blue. And it's very, very, I kind of like the look of that one better. But again, somebody offers you to review probably one of the first ones in the country. I ain't going to say no, that's for sure. Let's do some stats and some size comparisons before we get too much farther in this. And also, I will link to my review of the aluminum version down below, which is maybe slightly cheaper. Again, I don't know what they're going to cost once they get to the U.S. They might wind up costing a bit more, but we shall see. You have an overall length of 5.85 inches, blade length of 2.4 inches, blade thickness of 0.16 inches, and a handle thickness of 0.43 with a weight. The weight was just barely over 2 ounces, like 2.05, something like that. It's super, super light, as you expect, because it's all carbon fiber construction. So let's talk about that a little bit. We'll talk about the design and stuff. Yes, this is full carbon, both sides. Kind of doesn't look like it, which I'll talk about that more in a minute. But first of all, let's talk about the technical parts of this. Yes, this is a carbon fiber frame lock. Obviously, there is a steel insert and steel, insert / overstop travel thing. But instead of running on a steel, cutout for the frame lock, it runs on carbon fiber. Now, some people I've seen on some forums, not many, but a few, saying, carbon can't do that. Carbon can absolutely handle that. They have carbon fiber leaf spring suspension and stuff for cars. Like, carbon fiber can bend like that repeatedly, many, 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 many times and be just fine. In the bike industry, we do it all the time. They have a whole lot of bikes that they call passive suspension, which means the frame design is designed to flex a little bit vertically but not horizontally, and it works awesome. And carbon fiber is also awesome in that way that you can tune which way you want it to bend. So depending on the weave, you can tune it to bend that way, but not this way. And carbon fiber is a fantastic material to be using on knife handles, I believe, for stuff like this, for frame locks. I think if you know what you're doing, it's going to work great. And I'm so glad to see somebody finally using it. And especially, like I said, if that's MSRP is $350 for this, which wouldn't be great, but wouldn't be insane. So MSRP, I'm probably thinking it's going to be about $250 in the US, but the European sites right now have it for $200. So we will see. But yeah, it's a great material. I'm so glad to see Jesper and Fox coming out with this, and I hope it propagates everywhere. Now, one thing I do not like about this, and I get this right out of the way since we're talking about the design. Aesthetically, okay, in the pictures of this won an award at Blade. It was like Knife of the Year at Blade Show, I believe. It didn't look like this. That finish, it's got this super grippy texture on it. I'm gonna get up really close so you can see it. And I don't care for that. You can still see it's full carbon. It's full carbon. It's not like, it looks almost like a G10 over carbon fiber laminate, which would be completely opposite of normal human activity. But it's not. I don't like the look of it at all. I don't like the feel of it much at all. It doesn't. I don't hate it, but it's not. It is. We'll talk about it more when we get to the carry and stuff. It is a bit of a pocket destroyer, but it's super grippy, like almost like cold steel level of grippiness. But if you can see inside there, I'm hoping my camera is going to focus and you can see it. See on the back side, you can see that kind of just matte, or the light's coming through that hole. That just kind of matte carbon look. That's what it looked like in the original photos of the original, when they first announced it and stuff. And that's what I think we all thought it was going to look like. And I would love that. But that's not what it came out like. It came with this grippy stuff. Now, I did post this on Instagram, and I whined about it a bit. Fox Knives replied to me. There's a bit of a language barrier there, I think. But they did indicate that it may be looking more like that in the future. Said if that's what people want, that's what we'll do, is kind of basically what they said. So hopefully it won't have this super grippy texture in the future. Works awesome for keeping it in your hand. Maybe some people will really love it. Maybe I'm in the minority. But from the Instagram comments, I don't think I am. It just doesn't look... It looks like G10 and it isn't. It's actually full, really nicely done high-tech carbon fiber, and it looks kind of just like your average G10 handle knife. Now, all these holes into these mill hole pairs, that's just an aesthetic thing. You like it or you don't. I kind of like it. I think it looks pretty cool. And it definitely does make it light. 2 ounces for this. It is a short blade, but it's a pretty thick, heavy blade. So that's a pretty darn good weight for this. Speaking of that thick, heavy blade, as I said, 2.4 inches of M390 steel. And it's very well done. It's not super slicey. It's only about 20, I think it was 22, 23 thousandths behind the edge. Not horrible, but not bad. And again, big, thick blade stock. This is one of those little big knives, that people like so much. And yeah, it's super comfortable in the hand for sure. Ergonomically, excellent. It is super sharp out of the box, by the way. The edge on it was really good. Super comfortable in the hand. Yes, per Fox Knives, I've said we are Joey style friends, or hand twins, I think, from Friends. It's everything he makes fits my hands perfectly, and this is no exception. Super, super comfortable in the hand. Really do like it. And the grippiness works, definitely. It ain't going nowhere in your hand. That is for absolute sure. Where I don't like it is in the carry. The pocket clip is great. One of the things that people complain a lot about in the aluminum version, I didn't mind it as much, but I had that wire clip that was kind of long and people had a fit about it. I kind of liked it, but it's got this nice clip with the ball on it. It works so good with that, instead of having a milled over, bent over clip. It works really well, but this is so grippy that it really is kind of a pocket destroyer when you're carrying it. It weighs nothing. Yeah, a little bit sticks up, but here, we'll demonstrate here. I've got the old X Wranglers here, so you're gonna see even just sliding it in. You can hear it, like it's very grippy. So that's how much you have sticking out. Not horrible, not bad at all. But pulling it out, can you hear that? Like it is a pocket destroyer for sure. Yeah, that's not ideal. That's not what I'm looking for. Yeah, you could take the clip off and sand that spot underneath it, but it's carbon. I don't really want to be doing that. I just wish this was the same finish as it is on the inside as on the outside. Deployment works great. I will say the detent on this is nigh on perfect. They did a great job with that, and that's got to be pretty hard to do with carbon fiber because you can't tweak it. Once it's done, it's done. That's what it is. That is a downside of working with carbon, is you can't bend it, you can't tweak it, you can't reset it. But the detent on this is just absolutely perfect. It's not fall shut, but it's close to it. Appears to be running on washers. This isn't mine, so I'm not tearing it apart, but I'm assuming it is from looking at it with a flashlight. Yeah. Overall, it's super freaking cool. Absolutely. Let's do some size comparisons before I give my overall opinions on this, because I kind of skipped over that before because I was eager to talk about some other stuff. So this is a very small knife, as we call them, little big knife. Compare it to your Ontario Rat Model 2. I'll line them up here because somebody requested that I do that more often. So you can see it's quite a bit shorter than a Rat Model 2. And then, just for standards and practices purposes, we will do the Spyderco PM2. And see, obviously, infinitely shorter than that. And now compared against some knives that are more in its size category, we have the Spyderco Little Native. Very, very similar in overall size to Little Native. We have the, we'll grab this, the Best Tech Engine. Again, very similar in size to that. Maybe just a little bit longer. I did a comparison between this and the aluminum one, and maybe I should do it with the carbon one too before I send it back to this guy, but we'll see if I have time to. I'll have to do it like tomorrow, because I'm sure this guy wants his brand new fancy pants knife back. Your CRKT Pilar, just a little bit bigger than that. And lastly, why not, since it's out here, it was in my pocket earlier today, your Three Rivers Manufacturing Atlas. Quite a bit bigger than that. I'm not going to say significantly, but quite a bit bigger. Oh, sorry, sneeze came on me there. That was weird. Yeah, so overall, it's super cool for sure, and innovative. It's definitely going to be a significant knife in the future, for absolutely sure. I do think we'll see more of these carbon fiber frame locks. As I said before, knowing a fair amount about carbon, it's not going to be easy to get it right, but they did get it right, and I'm actually quite surprised that it came out as quickly as it did, and a lot of people were waiting on it, but I think Fox did a good job from the time of the announcement to the time they started making it, because carbon fiber stuff is tricky. And, when you're making carbon fiber scales, that's one thing. That's super easy. Carbon fiber is super easy to work with that. But when you're using it as a structural component of a knife frame, it's pretty hard to get right. And it appears that they have. Definitely, the detent is just perfect on this thing. It's so good. And, yeah, I applaud them for getting it out as quickly as they did. And they did a really good job on the overall design. I just do not at all agree with this finish choice. I don't know what is up with that. But honestly, that's the only complaint I have with it. I don't know if they're going to be $200. I don't think they're going to be $250. But either of those prices, I'd probably be kind of fine with. Even the $250, I'd be completely fine with. It's very well designed. I very much appreciate the engineering that went into it. I like the blade. It's fine. It's not the slicingest machine in the world, but it works fine for a knife this size and the kind of things you're going to do with it. And it's going to be legal, everywhere. So if you live in a town, like I think Boston, you have to have under 2.5 inches, and you want to have the coolest under 2.5 inch knife. Yeah, this is probably pretty far up there. It's very unique and cool and innovative, and it's super comfortable in the hand. So the only complaint I have is the finish, but it's a pretty big one. But that's the only real complaint I have with it. So if you guys like grippy little knives, go check one out. I've been Brian. Hope you've enjoyed this. Have a good one.